No Andrew Luck, no Robert Griffin III, but just how good is the quarterback class in this year's NFL draft? We're about to find out. Welcome into the Sporting News Studios. I'm Tom Vandervoort, and joining me now on the phone, Eric Galko of Optimum Scouting. And Eric, I know you've got Geno Smith as the #1 quarterback in this draft. Let's just start with him and give me a sense of how much better he is than the rest of the guys in the class. What makes him the #1 QB in this year's draft?
I don't think he's leagues ahead of the other quarterbacks in this draft class, but I do think he's a consensus #1 quarterback, partially because he has great ball placement, partially because he's a good athlete and can move around the pocket, both pass line of scrimmage and the run line of scrimmage, to make plays with his feet, to make plays downfield. But I think the biggest thing with Geno Smith that scouts love, and I love about him, is his confidence and composure. He's a guy who went 5-0 to start the year and went 0-5 after that 5-0 start and didn't lose any confidence or composure in the pocket or his playing style, kind of tough through a rough season this year. Despite high expectations, he's a guy I think teams are going to love as far as being able to handle NFL playbook. I compare him to an Alex Smith-type game manager now, with the upside of being a slightly less strong Aaron Rodgers. So I think that ability to come in and be a safe quarterback prospect early on, and the upside to be an Aaron Rodgers, what makes him so intriguing as a quarterback prospect.
Gotcha. Now, I also noticed, a lot of folks have been talking about Geno Smith and Matt Barkley. You've got Ryan Nassib as the second best quarterback in the draft. So what makes him better than Barkley in your mind?
Yeah, I think he has a great ball placement in the short area. I think he's a guy who in his 3- and 5-step drops is very efficient in those West Coast-type offense passes. I think working with Doug Marrone, now Bill's head coach, ran a lot of pro-style concepts of Ryan Nassib, the 3-year starter. So I think he has a very high football IQ and understanding what defenses are trying to do to him and what he can do to counteract that as well. He makes some poor decisions at times. Doesn't have a great deep ball at this moment, partially because of his mechanics needing to be adjusted to kind of NFL deep ball, but I think he has all the tools you want in that 10 to 15-yard route range. I think he's confident, decisive. I think he can make plays in the West Coast type offense. And curious to see if he goes to the Bills in the NFL draft this year, or another team gets a chance to get Ryan Nassib.
Okay, now if I were to ask you, we've heard about Smith and Nassib and Barkley. I think we've talked about Mike Glennon and Tyler Wilson, guys like that. Who's a sleeper, maybe a guy that people haven't talked about? A guy with some questions maybe, but also with a lot of upside. Who's a guy you might take a flyer on if you're an NFL team in this draft?
Yeah, I think there's two guys that stand out as not getting nearly enough attention. One of them being Zach Dysert, the 6th Senior Bowl quarterback for most people in their minds. And he's a guy who wasn't really highly touted coming into the Senior Bowl, but I thought he played well. From Miami, Ohio, he's a guy who makes great plays with his feet, great plays in the move, has a big arm, and was very confident despite the fact that Miami, Ohio didn't have great talent around the past 2 years. So I think he's a guy in that 3rd or 4th round range who could be a great value, has franchise quarterback type upside, and also a mascot from Arizona, a 1-year starter behind Nick Foles at Arizona, actually redshirted so he could play when Nick Foles actually left. So I think Matt's got a chance to be a spread option, a spread pro read option, a guy who can make plays with his feet, make plays downfield, and a guy who fits in this new athletic quarterback mold the NFL wants, almost like Colin Kaepernick light of a prospect.
Gotcha. And finally, before I let you go, again, last year it was such a strong draft, particularly at the top end with Luck and Griffin. Of course, we had Russell Wilson there too. How would you just characterize the overall quality of this group of quarterbacks in this year's draft?
There's no Robert Griffin or Andrew Luck, like you mentioned, not even maybe a Ryan Tannehill-type prospect with a strong arm able to come into an NFL system and play well. But we see 6 or 7 quarterbacks taken in those top 3 rounds, maybe as many as 8 or 9, depending on how teams view Matt Scott or Landry Jones. I think at least 2 of these guys are going to become very, very good NFL starters. It's hard to tell which 2 right now. E.J. Manuel has a lot of upside. Tyler Bray has a lot of upside. We'll see if they can manufacture that as well. But this quarterback class has a lot of upside to at least have 2 or 3 guys be very good quarterback prospects. It's up to these teams to decide which 2 or 3 of those guys are going to be.
All right, very good. Eric, thank you so much. We'll be talking to you throughout the draft and catch up with you later.